Sisters who watch. Sisters who watch. Sisters who watch.
Barbie. Hey, y'all. Hey. Hi, family.
Hello.
Welcome to Sisters Who Watch.
I'm Shelby.
And I'm Laura, and we're sisters who watch everything TV, movies, sports, concerts, and even live action movies about dolls.
Woo!
We love to watch, and we love talking about it even more. Today we're watching
Barbie. Greta Gerwig's live action take on the iconic Mattel doll.
Barbie. Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie.
Hey, Barbie.
Hey, Barbie. I know you're all
Hey,
shocked that
Barbie.
we watched Barbie.
I
I'm
know.
excited to talk about it today and have a barrel.
I know. Look at us. We're wearing our Barbie merch. If you're watching,
Doesn't she look like a Malibu Barbie?
Malibu
Ready
Barbie.
to go.
Yes. So clearly, we're all Barbied out. We're part of Barbenheimer Mania, Barbie
Yes.
weekend, everything.
Barbie season, pink
Pink
is
era,
powerful,
yes.
pink era, whatever you call it, we're
in it. We're in it.
We're here.
I feel like, Shelby, this is where you thrive. This is
my
your
moment.
time, right?
A
This
lot
is
of
your
people
moment.
Have it. Jasmine Kennedy reference, RuPaul's Drag Race, everybody.
Yes.
So a lot of people have been saying that this is their Super Bowl. The thing
my
is, I
gosh.
watch football, so I like the Super Bowl. But
You have two Super Bowls.
I have two Super Bowls. Barbenheimer and the actual Super Bowl.
I can't. That's us.
That's us. So if you haven't heard, and I'd be shocked if you hadn't,
What?
a movie about Barbie came out.
That's it.
It's written by Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach and directed by Greta Gerwig. And for those of you who are familiar with her, she is a really prominent female writer, director. She is known for Lady Bird, which is like an indie YA dramedy that came out a few years ago. But I'm a big fan, and that's why I was excited for this movie. It was one of my most anticipated of the year.
Yes, if you watched and listened to our second episode, it was our worst content of the year, but we also talked about our most highly anticipated content for 2023. And this was on Shelby's list. So you were ahead of the curve.
I was ahead of the curve.
Everyone is going crazy about Barbie Mania. And you were on it 6 months ago.
I was. Well, again, I tend to follow movies, the industry news.
Of course.
And I just like Greta Gerwig and love pink and played with Barbies growing up. So it's like, check.
Check.
As we said, my second Super Bowl. So.
Yes. Shelby is the Black Barbie. I mean, she's been living the pink lifestyle her entire life. So
that's right.
This is made for her. Her second Super Bowl of the year. Shelby was very excited about this movie from the jump. And that's why you need to listen to us, because Shelby, she knew that this movie was going to be a moment.
I know.
So very happy that she was ahead of the curve. She educated me about this. As we talked about, Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach wrote the film, and they're actually a real life couple.
Yes, they are. A real life power couple in Hollywood.
That's it. Both writer-directors. We love to see it. And another bit of background, I remember there was talks years ago about Amy Schumer playing Barbie. Do you remember this?
No, I don't. When was that? No.
I don't remember what year this was, but it might have been pre-pandemic, but they're like, oh, there's talks of a Barbie movie and Amy Schumer is going to play Barbie.
Wow.
So there's talks about that, but, obviously things fizzled out, and then Margot Robbie became the star of the film.
Well, this has been in development for a while. Apparently, Mattel, the makers of the Barbie doll, had been pitching a movie on Barbie for years to various studios. And then finally, it came to be at Warner Brothers with Greta Gerwig on board and Margot Robbie attached, Ryan Gosling, just stat cast. And I'm so excited that it came to fruition. It's a big bet, right? To make a Barbie movie that's like a fantasy comedy, but it ended up working out.
I know. And I think everyone's talking about how the marketing team for Barbie has just gone above and beyond. I mean, it's on LinkedIn. People on LinkedIn are talking about it. Have you seen those posts?
Yes. And I will say, we tweeted about this a few weeks ago when we were
I know.
watching The Bachelor, saying that the Bachelor producers work hard, but the
Oh my
Barbie marketing
gosh.
team works harder.
Exactly.
Like,
There's
it's
so much hype.
crazy.
Wow. We watched The Bachelor, shock, surprise. And on this season of The Bachelorette, they did a date where Charity Lawson, the Bachelorette, was Barbie, and all the men had to be Kens, and they did a performance for her, and it was literally all dedicated to Barbie. Simu Liu made a cameo on The Bachelorette. It was wild. And then Shelby and I were in a hotel room, and we're just channel surfing, and then we land on HGTV, and they have a show all about making a real life Barbie dream house. And we're like, this is crazy.
Everywhere
and it's
you
like
look,
everywhere you
Barbie.
look. And it's a weekly show, and all these designers from HGTV come together and design, rooms based off of Barbie dolls. It's wild. It's really, really cool. Yeah, Barbie is working hard. The marketing team deserves all the bonuses, everything.
Yes. Very exciting to see pink everywhere. And
Pink is the
for
moment.
me, it's really great to see a female-led movie, a comedy, right? Not a superhero movie, doing really well in theaters. It crushed the box office. It is now the biggest opening weekend for a female director in the US ever. Ever. And the movies that it beat out were Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel. Two
Crazy.
superhero movies. So crazy that this comedy fantasy about a doll that's like very bright and pink and poppy and even a little campy is crushing the box office. We love to see it. I'm here.
As it should.
I'm here for the uniqueness. We need more content like this.
Right. And like Shelby and I have mentioned, we need more creative, unique stories. I've never seen a movie like Barbie ever.
No.
And the movie ended
One
with
of a kind.
like, what? It was just so unique and creative. Everyone's just saying how much thinking that happens after the movie. I can't even describe it because they're just like, apparently it makes you think.
Laura,
and that's what we told our family.
Right now. You're thinking too hard about
exactly.
It right now.
Barbie, the movie makes you think, and it's a lot of people are saying that as well. And that's what we said to our mom after we saw it. We're like, you're gonna, really be thinking about the movie afterwards. And a lot of people are having the same reaction as us.
That's what a good movie is.
Exactly.
You have fun, you laugh, but you also leave like, wow, what does that mean? How does that, like, you're thinking about something. There was a purpose behind that. There was some meaning there. And that's the kind of content I want to see in this world.
Exactly. And I know that even the previews and everything that dropped, no one knew what it was about. The previews gave you a little taste. I remember one of the most recent ones right before the movie came out was one of Ryan Gosling singing, and people were like, is Barbie a musical? Like, everyone just was so thrown off by that. No one knew what it was about. They just knew it was about, real life Barbie dolls, and Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling, they go into the real world. And that's basically all I knew about it. I was just like, Barbie's go into the real world and something happens. Is that what you also knew about the plot coming in?
Yeah. Similarly, I didn't know much. I just knew that it was about Barbie dolls. And I just knew it had a stacked cast. I was excited to see Issa there.
Yes.
And I was ready to see a lot of pink on my screen.
That's it.
Didn't know much, but I was still excited. I think the marketing team did a really good job of just giving you little bits and pieces to build anticipation. So not giving the movie away. I feel like that's the worst, when a campaign gives the movie away in the trailer. Instead, you get curious. And you're like, I wonder what that is.
I gotta check it out.
Is it a musical? What is this about? And then it just led to a lot of conversation and excitement before the movie dropped.
Definitely. And something else that got people excited about the movie, we're talking a lot about background expectations because this whole movie was about hype and building up the anticipation. So we have to talk about the Barbie album and all those singles.
That's right.
I mean, I will say I was ahead of the curve with the Dua Lipa song, Dance the Night. Now it's everywhere. Like, everyone's always playing it. But I remember when it first dropped, because I'm a Spotify girly. I'm always on there. And they recommend, new songs by artists. So I saw that Dua Lipa dropped a new song for the Barbie movie, and I was like, I gotta listen to it. And I immediately loved it. And now it's everywhere. So that song got me excited for the movie. And of course, Nicki Minaj and Ice Spice, Barbie World.
It's a bop. I really like it.
It's everywhere. It's good. I know Shelby's converted. She's converted on that
Yes.
song.
And then they dropped this the day the movie premiered, but Lizzo's song, she's on the album. Pink.
I know. Amazing. So Shelby and I, we got tickets to an early screening. We saw it the Wednesday night before opening weekend. It was an early fan Barbie blowout party screening. So the new Lizzo song, we hadn't heard it. And then during the movie, it was during the opening scene, this Lizzo song was playing. I was like, Shelby, I literally said this to you. I was like, that sounds like Lizzo. That is Lizzo.
You knew it right away. You have the Lizzo ear.
I called it. I knew it. I know my girl Lizzo. I do. So that was such a happy surprise that she had a single on the album too. So we love Lizzo on this pod.
Let's dive into the themes.
Let's do it.
A big theme is gender roles. Tell me about it,
Laura. The whole movie is about gender. So coming in from the previews, you see this thing called Barbie Land, and it's this utopia of right. And I'm like, how do I get there? Where do I sign up? I'm running. I want to go to Barbie Land.
Ready?
It sounds amazing, and it's all the Barbies. It's all these women, in their dream houses, having all their best friends, girls' night every night, and then, they have all the Kens living somewhere else. We don't know where the Kens live. But they basically just come out during the day to just hang out with the Barbies and spend time with them and serve them and just do things to make them happy. Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling, Barbie and Ken, they end up going to the real world and seeing how it is nothing like Barbie Land and how all the gender roles are just completely flipped.
Men rule everything. Men
rule everything in the real world, whereas in Barbie Land, women rule everything.
Woo!
Yes. So when Barbie goes out to the real world, and one of my favorite lines of the whole movie, she looks at a billboard and it's like Miss America pageant, and it's like all these women in like swimsuits, bikinis. She's like, oh my gosh, look, it's the Supreme Court. I can't.
The comedy when they enter the real world is wild. When Barbie sees the construction workers.
Oh yeah.
And she's like, wow, lunchtime at a construction site. Perfect time to see all the women. I was like, I can't. And then they were like catcalling her and whistling, and she didn't really understand. She was like, I don't get this, but I feel unsafe. I was like, I'm feeling,
I'm feeling a little insecure and conscious about myself. What is that called? And I was just like triggerama.
Too much.
Too real.
Another one was when Ryan Gosling, Ken, goes to Century City and sees all the men in suits talking to people, and like he sees a man tell like an assistant to go away, and he was like, oh my gosh, I can talk like that. And then he like goes into the library and gets books on horses. It was just too much.
And just by observing Earth, LA for 12 minutes, he's like, wow. Like he can tell immediately that this is where I want to be. Men are in control. Men are running the show. And I can't stand how I need to be. This Barbie Land needs to be like this. So that was really interesting. So the whole movie is about gender, of course, and how, Earth, the United States, LA, has made up all of these rules about what gender should be, how men and women should be, interacting, whatever. And Barbie Land just flips it on its head, and how it, from Margot Robbie's perspective, none of it makes sense. She's like in the real world, and she's like, why is this happening? Why are women treated like this? Because from a unbiased perspective, it doesn't make sense. So it was really well done. And we were talking about this with our family, that Greta Gerwig did such a good job, pointing out all these things that are so wrong in regards to gender. Very, very clever.
And she did it in a funny way. I think a lot of times it could rub people the wrong way if it's very pointed or intense or dramatic, but it was a comedy. and you were laughing at the Supreme Court comment, but you're also like, yeah, the actual Supreme Court is mostly men in suits, you know?
Yes. Very conservative, looking men and women dressed in drapes. Yeah. Not bikinis.
Opposite. They're like, don't show any skin.
No. So I just loved that line so much. And their outfits when they first entered the real world at Venice Beach, it was so funny. Wearing those outfits, and they're like, yes, this is the perfect outfit to wear rollerblading. And they looked so crazy, and everyone was making fun of them. And in Barbie Land, there's like no insecurity. Everyone's just happy all the time. Wear what you want.
The brighter, the better.
Exactly. And it just shows that Barbie Land is fun. And I feel like the real world doesn't embrace fun.
No.
It's
very serious. It's very structured. And related to what we're talking about with gender roles, I think it shows how the real world should be critiqued, right? There are a lot of things, a lot of pressures, a lot of seriousness that maybe that shouldn't be how we're living.
Exactly. Another theme is the real world. And like we've been saying, the real world is very serious, very unfun, the opposite of Barbie Land. And we see this with America Ferrera's character. Her monologue towards the end when she's talking about how hard it is to be, a human woman living in society. And she's like, Margot Robbie's Barbie, stereotypical Barbie, she's crying and stressed out by just the pressures of being a doll, right? Which is so absurd. Insane. And she's like, oh my gosh, if a doll is having a breakdown about all these pressures about being a woman and inspiring women, what, like real women don't have a chance, No. So it just shows that it's so difficult, to be a woman in society. And there's just so many pressures that we have to deal with. Damned if you do, damned if you don't, all this stuff. You got to be a strong, independent woman, but you can't be too threatening, to a man or to other people, or else you're seen aggressive or XYZ. So it just shows that, it's hard out here, y'all. In conclusion.
So that's why we want to move to Barbie Land.
Yes, that's why. In conclusion, this is our petition to go to Barbie Land.
Let's make Barbie Land real.
Please.
So, our third theme is the utopia, right? Barbie Land is what it looks like when women are in charge. I like to think of it as like a Wakanda for women, you know? So for those of you that watch Black Panther, Wakanda forever.
There needs to be like a Barbie like hand signal. Like this is a Wakanda
so we can
symbol.
be like Barbie Land.
That's it. I agree.
So it's the Wakanda for women. And I also like that it's had a pretty diverse cast. So it made it seem like anyone can be Barbie, which I think is important given the history with Barbie, right? Like it's very stereotypical, white, blonde, the dimensions of like the perfect body. Yeah. So I do think it was great to see that, anyone can be Barbie and women can have any role they want. They can be president. They can be a scientist. They can do construction, you name it. So it was, again, a utopia, but it was cool to see that.
Exactly. Anyone can be Barbie. And like you said, Issa Rae was President Barbie. We're big Issa fans. Yes. And they also had a Barbie in a wheelchair, plus size Barbies, all different sizes, colors of Barbie. So that was important that they had that representation. If y'all listen to our episode where we talked about our most highly anticipated content of the year, and Shelby brought up Barbie, and I said that I wasn't the most excited because I was like, okay, so they cast Margot Robbie as Barbie, and of course she looks exactly like the Barbie doll, and I was hesitant on how that casting, perpetuates the stereotype of a Barbie doll, the perfect looking, slim, blonde, white woman, etc. So that was a critique that I had. And I part of me wished that besides having all different kinds of Barbies, I wish they maybe addressed that more. If Greta Gerwig could have, it felt like it was mentioned and hinted at, but I think that's such a huge critique about the Barbie doll. But she focused more on the gender roles between the Barbie and the Ken. So I understand that wasn't the focus of the film, but that was something that I would have liked to seen explored more.
No, I think it's a fair point, and I appreciate the diverse casting, and the mentions throughout the film, like, why would you cast Margot Robbie as such stereotypical Barbie, you know, and then America Ferrera's daughter in the film calling Barbie a fascist, like crazy,
and white savior Barbie.
Yeah, but like you could, there were hints and jabs at it throughout, but to your point, it could have been a bit more front and center.
Right. So, but in Barbie Land, anyone can be Barbie.
That's right. So Laura, what are your favorite moments? We talked about a few, like roller skating in Venice, but what else did you like?
Yes. So I know that we both like Simu Liu. We're fans. Shang-Chi, he was incredible in that. And also, I'm ahead of the curve as well because I watched Kim's Convenience and I loved him on that show. I was like, who is this guy? He's amazing. He's so funny on the show. He's super cute. I had never seen him anywhere else. And a couple years later, he's the star of a Marvel movie. And I was like, wow. So I was ahead of the curve again. Simu Liu, Kim's Convenience, really good show. Go check it out. So I thought he was good in the movie. His character was small. He didn't have that many lines, but he was on screen a lot. So I thought he was like very present in the role. And I really liked his and Ryan Gosling's dynamic. And in the beginning, they compete for the Barbie's attention, right? So Ryan Gosling was like, I just want a beach, I just want a beach. I thought that was so funny. And then him and Simu kept on going back and forth being like, well, I'm gonna beach, I'm gonna be better beaching at you. And then Margot Robbie's like, no one's gonna beach each other off. I just thought that was so funny. Like, it was just so absurd, right? Right.
Yes, absurd's a good way to put it. There was a lot of absurdity in the film, for sure.
Yes.
For me, I just loved all the pink, the settings, the costumes. It was just so fun and bright to watch. It was beautiful.
Oh, for sure. Super aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, so aesthetically pleasing. Similar to you, the Ken scenes were great. In particular, I'm Just Ken, my new favorite song.
Iconic.
I'm Just Ken.
We made a playlist on Spotify all about Barbie energy, and I'm Just Ken made the cut. It did
make the cut. It's hilarious. And his iconic line at the end, I am Knuff.
And he had a shirt that said, I am Knuff. And I want that shirt. I'm not ready to get it, but
you are enough, Ken. That is right. You are enough.
And at the end, when, stereotypical Barbie and Ken had that heart to heart, and she was like, you're Ken. He was like, I'm Ken. He's Ken.
His acting was iconic, man. Iconic.
Yes. If you couldn't tell, Shelby and I thought Ryan Gosling was such a star.
Crushed it. He was so hilarious. Good. I'll also say that I really liked Gloria, America Ferrera's character. I hadn't seen her act in a minute, and I was like, wow, she's crushing it. And particularly her like monologue on how hard it is to be a woman. I found that the most like powerful part of the movie. And that's when it really became clear, oh yeah, this is about femininity, womanhood, what it means to be a woman in our world, how hard it is, and just like what we go through.
She was a great kind of straight man providing like, woman realness,
That's right.
Like, this is what it's like to be a woman in the real world, mom, career woman, all these things, someone who loved Barbies growing up and is now raising a child of her own. And her daughter wanted to give the Barbies away. So we see her, struggling with her career, motherhood, all this stuff. So she provided like a really good foundation to kind of, bring the Barbies in a little bit back to reality. So I agree. And something I also liked about the film was that the Barbies, when Margot Robbie came back and she was like, what happened to Barbie Land? And now instead of the Barbie dream houses, there's the Mojo Dojo Casa house.
I can't.
What?
It's so crazy. Ken just ruined it and made it the most like masculine stereotypical things. Horses,
Oh, there were
beer.
horses everywhere, saloons, and the girls in those outfits. That was horrible.
I was like, where are we, Hooters? Oh, stop.
It was giving Hooters.
It really was.
Oh no. It felt like they were going back in time. Like it felt like time had reversed, say like 50, 100 years. And you can kind of say the same thing about America right now.
Yeah.
It feels like so much of what's happening in our country specifically, you know, so many laws are being overturned, and it feels like we're going back in time. Yeah. So I thought that was really interesting, right? And it's like, oh my gosh, the Kens took over and now we're going back in time. But of course, in true woman Barbie fashion,
we saved the day.
Right. And we're very strategic about it. And I literally was talking to someone about this the other day, how differently men and women approach, you know, different obstacles and situations. And we were talking about basketball. We both grew up playing basketball, if you listen to my NBA episode. And we both grew up playing on all girls teams. And on playing on all girls team, you've really set plays and lots of strategies, dynamics. But once I, started playing pickup in college and intramural teams and now post-grad, I realized guys play so differently. They do a lot of fast breaks, layups, fast break, three-pointer, and that's how they play basketball. This is so true. If you're a girl who's ever played with guys, this is how they play. And whereas girls,
there's no teamwork.
Right?
No play
they always
calling.
set up a play. Girls always set up a play. Lots of spacing and passing, and that's how girls play basketball. Usually, that's from my experience. So, similarly, in this movie, the Barbies are like, "How are we going to take Barbie Land back?" And they devise this plan, and slowly, right under the Kens' noses, they unbrainwash all the Barbies. How do you think the Kens brainwashed the Barbies?
I think they leveraged what Ken learned in the real world and we're like, oh, this is good for you, this is helpful, oh my gosh, like, no, like, this is how you can help us help the Barbie land by doing this for me. Like, I think they implored to like how women are like caretakers, givers, and played into that.
Okay, because that was a little unclear to me, because Margot Robbie came back and she was like, everyone's brainwashed, and how do we unbrainwash all the Barbies, etc. So, no, that's a good point. One by one, they unbrainwash each of the Barbies and they take back Barbie Land, and they pit all the Kens against each other without the Kens even realizing it. And it just felt...
And they did it by preying on what they hate, competing over women.
Yes.
Classic.
They triggered, exactly what ticks men off. It just shows women just know how to think ahead and just like always thinking and get what they want without the Kens even knowing. So it felt like this is what actually happens in the real world. Women know how to, be strategic and accomplish their goals.
That's right. Okay, Laura.
Yes.
What are your least favorite moments? We have a lot of great ones, but what are your least favorite moments?
There was the moment with the Barbie founder and stereotypical Barbie, and they're like holding hands, and Margot Robbie's talking about she wants to be a real woman, and then the Billie Eilish song plays, and there's all the flashbacks and stuff. I didn't really understand that moment. I remember I told you, I was like, who are the flashbacks? Are these random girls? Are they supposed to be Margot Robbie, the Barbies? Like, it just wasn't super clear to me.
Yeah. And apparently that was when the Billie Eilish song played.
Yeah.
And I don't like her. So I had no idea that was what the song was playing. But now that I do, I'm like, ooh, don't like that scene even more. I just think it felt like kind of a forced way to kind of end the movie and like put a bow on it. I thought it was good though to show like Margot Robbie's character, stereotypical Barbie, being like emotional and realizing what it means to be human and then choosing yes at what she wants. But it did feel like a little rushed at the end to me.
And Shelby, you also talked about how there's a little confusion on how Barbie Land and the real world are connecting. How it's a little bit unclear.
Yeah. I mentioned this to you after the movie. And like we said, this is a movie you need to think about. So it genuinely took me
Yes.
time to reflect, like, how do I feel? What could be better? But at the end, I was like, wait, how did they get from Barbie Land to the real world? Like, what is Barbie Land? Is it
Right.
real? Is it fantasy? Like, it was really unclear to me the how the world came to be and what the stakes of the world were. I think they leaned to the comedy component and they were just like, oh, it's fantasy. But it was a little unclear, like, what the rules of the world were, how it came to be, how are these connected.
Right.
And I would maybe have loved a bit more like background or clarity on why Barbie
Yeah.
Land exists. Because when Ken took over and they started making the Casa Mojo Jojo house or whatever, all of a sudden in the real world they were making those houses. So I'm like, oh, whatever is happening in Barbie Land then is what
Right.
Mattel makes. Like, it was a little unclear to me what that connection
Yeah.
was.
And in the beginning, when they're dancing to Dance the Night and they have the whole sequence, then stereotypical Barbie is like, has anyone thought about death? And there's like a screeching halt, record scratch.
So funny.
And she's like, oh, I thought about, I want to dance the night like I'm dying, something like that. And people are like, yeah. And you see, and when she goes to Kate McKinnon, Weird Barbie, they recognize that this is happening because of someone who's playing with her actual doll. And Margot Robbie gets cellulite because America Ferrera's character Gloria is thinking about cellulite or has it, all this stuff. And so you're like, so what's the connection, right? It's unclear.
Yeah.
So what happens in the real world affects the Barbie?
Yeah, like, why can Gloria control what happens to
Right.
stereotypical Barbie?
Right. So you see that there's some kind of connection, but it's unclear exactly what it is.
Yes.
So I agree. That could have been fleshed out more. And as we talked about, it had a pretty diverse cast, but I felt like Issa was so underused. President Barbie was underused.
She had some fun one-liners, and of course, she was a minor character, but I did wish that we had seen her a bit more. It's how I felt about her in Spider-Verse too. I was like, wait, Issa's barely in this movie.
Same critique. Same critique. I know they just want her on the cast list because, you know, people like us are like,
she brings people in. She really brings people in.
But then she's barely in the movie.
I know. So that wasn't ideal.
Not ideal. Okay, Shelby.
Yes.
Under categories.
Wow, my favorite part of the episode.
Who did you love to hate in Barbie?
Oof. I'm gonna have to say Ken. And this is why. I know.
Ryan Gosling? What?
His character was hilarious.
So funny.
Like, he acted his butt off. Every time he was on screen, I was laughing. I thought he was so absurdist. It was hilarious. So I thought he did a great job acting, and you just wanted to laugh whenever Ken was on screen.
Yeah.
But he did try to take over Barbie Land and enact a patriarchy. So a little problematic.
Yes.
All of the horses, the beer cans, it was
the fur coat.
The fur coat.
It was a lot.
All the watches and wristbands, like, it was a lot.
He created the Barbie dream houses into the Mojo Dojo Casa houses that were basically saloons that were ugly. It was not working for me.
And he was kind of like a clown the entire time until he realized that he was enough. You know, that he is Ken and that he's enough. He's Ken.
He's Ken. I agree. I would say Ken is my love to hate. I thought he was so funny. Loved Ryan Gosling in this role. Give him the Oscar now.
Oscar campaign starts now.
Come on. But yeah, when he ruined Barbie Land, I was so mad. I was sitting in the theater and I was like, what? How dare Ken do this to perfect Barbie Land? So yeah, I love to hate Ken, but he had a good arc at the end, you know.
Really good.
He had a singing moment, very dramatic, but at the end he realized that he was Knuff.
Big deal for him. Very proud of him.
Who do you hate to hate from this movie?
Okay. I have to say Mattel. Like,
Mattel, period.
yeah, the entire company, which is
Yeah,
ironic since they created Barbie. But the way they were portrayed in the movie, the board of all men, the CEO,
yeah,
Will Ferrell, who was hilarious,
right.
but bizarre. And the fact that there were all these men deciding what Barbies would be and the designs.
Literally.
It was just very weird. It was strange. And the line that Will Ferrell delivered that was like, I'm here trying to help young girls and women, and that's all this is about. And it was just so ironic because all these men are like, yeah, this is noble. We're trying to help women. It was
I
just, it
know.
felt cringy, but funny, but also realizing that that's kind of how our world is. So it was very
Yeah.
telling. It was like, ooh, yeah, it's right. All these men trying to make decisions for us. It's true.
The Supreme Court, Congress, Senate, all of
Yeah,
it,
it's
men
tough
making decisions, that they believe are best for
for
women.
women.
Exactly. So it was definitely microcosmic of the real world, of course. Lots of really good satire in this film. I agree. I definitely hate the Mattel board, the CEO. They were definitely meant to be the villains in this movie.
Clear villains.
Yes. And who did you love to love? On to
Yes,
that.
positivity. I thought Gloria, America Ferrera's character, was great. We mentioned this already. One of my favorite parts of the movie was her big monologue about what it means to be a woman in
Yes.
the real world. And like you were also saying, she was a great kind of emotional, authentic center of the film to like bring us back into reality.
Oh, for sure. I agree. I really liked her. She was fun, but she felt very real. And exactly, she felt like the real woman representation. And a fun fact for people out there,
Ooh,
America Ferrera's actual real life husband was her husband in the movie.
no.
Yes.
I did not know that.
Who was struggling to speak Spanish. That's her actual
Yes.
husband. Yeah,
Oh, that's so cute. I love
I
when that
know.
happens.
That is really
Aw,
cute. So, little nugget for y'all. And
love that.
I know. I also loved Kate McKinnon's character, Weird
Weird
Barbie.
Barbie. So, and
Yeah.
she had the splits. And as our
Yes.
mom was saying, that's like an ode to Barbie because you would always mess with the legs when you're playing with
Yeah.
Barbies as a kid.
Mess up the hair, draw on their faces. Yeah. Ruin Barbie up. Tear Barbie up. Yeah.
So funny.
Yeah, I thought that Weird Barbie was a really good foil for stereotypical Barbie, Margot Robbie, because she was kooky and felt very like realistic and centered in what, actual Barbies look like in the real world. They don't look perfect and beautiful like Margot
No.
Robbie. They're messed up and they're played with. And as a result, they're given this unique kind of personality. So
Yeah.
I liked Kate McKinnon's comic relief.
Agreed. And Kate's so funny. I feel like we've really liked her ever since SNL. So I
Oh
was
yeah.
happy to see her on the screen. I also liked stereotypical Barbie, Margot Robbie's character. I know, shocking. I liked Barbie, the main character of the movie. Now, I thought that she had a lot on her plate as an actor, right? She was in like almost every scene from beginning to
Yeah.
end, and I thought she did a good job kind of being that core of the film. And I liked that we got to see an evolution of stereotypical Barbie, thinking everything's great and we're perfect and we're saving the world. And then at the end, realizing, oh, shoot, the world isn't perfect. Even Barbie Land has its issues as well.
Right.
But I want to understand what it's like to be in the real world. And if that means facing death and like motherhood and issues in the real world, I'm going to do it. So I like to see the evolution of her character. And I thought Margaret did a good job.
I agree. She was a good main character. She, played stereotypical Barbie well. She showed emotions. It wasn't too crazy, too campy. Like she played it just right. I agree.
Yes. Great cast overall. Very,
Stacked.
very stacked.
Okay, on to our segment.
Ooh.
Red flag, green flag, 1, 2, 3.
Hmm.
Okay, and if you haven't heard this segment, basically we just ask, spicy questions, and we have to discuss whether it's a red flag or a green flag.
Yes.
Okay, Shelby, is it a red flag to be Team Ken?
Ooh, spicy.
Team Ken?
I think it depends on why you're Team Ken. Are you Team Ken because you want all men to rule the world and win? That's not great.
Probably a red
That's
flag.
a red flag.
Yeah.
Are you Team Ken because you think there should be a bit more equity and power in Barbie Land? Like maybe Ken should have more things to do than just beach on the beach.
What? I want Ken to just beach personally. Yeah.
And that's why I think this movie's really interesting and makes you think, because at the end you could tell Barbie was like, maybe it shouldn't just be Ken's regulated to having nothing to do in Barbie Land. Like maybe the solution isn't for just women to be in all the leadership positions after all. Because is that what's happening in the real world with the men in the positions? So you could see like the gears going in her head. And even though I would move to Barbie Land and I want all women in leadership positions, in reality, do you only want one of a certain ethnicity, gender, etc. ruling the world? Probably not.
Right.
So I do think it's a red flag if you're Team Ken because you want male dominance. But if you're thinking more about like equity and inclusion and having like checks and balances in a fair kind of world order, I don't think it's a red flag.
Right. Or if you just love Ryan Gosling singing "I'm Just Ken," valid reason to be Team Ken.
Team Ken.
Right. That's not a red flag. That is not a red flag.
Yeah,
I agree with that. I want to move to Barbie Land. I want, to have an all-female Supreme Court in Barbie Land. Yes. But in reality, I see what you mean. There is value in having, all kinds of people represented. Yes. So,
hey, Laura, question for you.
Oh,
I know, turning the tables. Is it a green flag to bring your kids to the Barbie movie? There's been a lot of discussion, debate about this.
Whether Barbie is a kids movie. Yeah.
Barbie is a kids movie. Should kids, preteens, you name it, be at these screenings?
Right. That's a good point. We've heard lots of analysis and different perspectives on this. We listened to a podcast talking about how one person was like, oh, Barbie is really adult. Like they have, a bleep in there.
One.
They have one bleep at the end.
And it's rated PG-13.
Right. It's rated PG-13. I personally think it's very kid-friendly. I mean, maybe there's some things that go over your head, maybe like the genitalia jokes, but there's nothing dirty or raunchy or anything in it. I guess some of the themes are kind of mature. If you listen
like feminism.
Right, like feminism and womanhood, motherhood, I guess those are mature themes that maybe kids won't understand. But at the end of the day, the movie's so funny. There's so many bright, beautiful colors, and Margot Robbie is dressed up in all these incredible outfits. Right. The kids are going to love the movie. So I think it is a green flag to bring your kids to the movie because maybe they don't understand, all the nuances of feminism. But, regardless, they might learn a few things about, what it means to be a woman and some feminist ideals, whatever. And I think obviously a lot of girls are going to see the movie, but I know at all these screenings, a lot of guys have been there too.
Yes, so bring your boys to it. Bring all of your kids.
Bring all your kids, bring your husbands, your boyfriends, everyone, because it's important that everyone sees this movie. Because the whole point is about, if we're going to, hypothetically take down the patriarchy, if it's just girls talking about this, nothing is going to happen.
Everyone needs to be involved.
Everyone needs to be involved.
Yes.
So no, it's not a red flag. It is a green flag to bring your kids to the Barbie movie. Some people disagree. I know I've had friends who are like, why are people bringing their kids to the Barbie movie? But I think it's kid friendly. Do you agree? I'm
aligned. I also think we sometimes underestimate what kids know or what kids can understand. I feel like anything, kids these days are really smart. They've been through a lot. They have the internet. They have all this technology.
They had to grow up during a pandemic.
Yeah, I don't think we should underestimate what they can understand or handle. So I think even though it might be radical or progressive to bring your kids to a movie like Barbie, I commend it.
I totally agree. And I mean, if people think Barbie is too radical or progressive for children, this
What society are we living in?
right. And I'm like, this movie is not that is radical
A
is a strong
PG-13
word.
live action movie about a doll.
About a doll. Radical is far from the Barbie movie, but
Okay.
some people might disagree.
So Laura, would you say Barbie is a wait or a watch?
Watch. As someone who, was not 100% all in, I was definitely hesitant. And as I said, I do have critiques on the movie. I don't, you can only tackle so much within a couple hours. So I commend Greta Gerwig for what she did do with the time.
Yeah.
But was it a perfect movie? No. I know some people who were like obsessed, friends crying, bawling during it.
Crying?
Yes. They were just so emotional and like moved by the movie. Yes. And apparently one of my friends was like, yeah, everyone in the theater with me was crying.
Oh, okay.
I didn't notice that when we saw it.
I don't think anyone was crying.
Right? I know. So I definitely would say watch. I think one, as we've talked about, just to be a part of the conversation. Everyone is talking about it.
It's the movie of the summer. Probably the
movie of the year. Movie of the year, right?
The biggest movie since the end of the pandemic, if we're being honest.
Literally. So just to be a part of the conversation, it's a moment in our culture right now. And also, I think, as we've talked about, Barbie really makes you think. It's a movie that when it ended, I was like, wow, you really you get your head going. So I think movies that do that, that's always successful. How about you? Wait or watch?
Obviously a watch. Hands down a watch, 100% a watch. Like you, it was funny, it was pink, it was topical. What more can you ask for in a movie? And I also feel like it's a water cooler moment. If you haven't seen it, you want to see it so you can talk about it. So join in on the conversation, everybody. Watch it and then tell us what you think.
Yes, we definitely want to hear what y'all have to say. And as we talked about, Gosling, probably his best performance that I've seen.
Great.
Genuinely, he's been Gosling in a lot, but he was so good. And I was surprised at how funny it was. It was really hilarious.
Really funny.
So,
and
go see it.
It's getting some Oscar buzz.
Ooh.
So the Oscars or Academy Awards are like the biggest awards for movies. And the Oscars can, not always get it right. I'll be honest. We did an episode on the Oscars earlier this year. Wasn't necessarily our favorite award show. No. But I'd be shocked if this movie does not get Oscar nominations. Or
at least screenplay. At least
screenplay. Hopefully Gosling. Hopefully Greta for directing. We know it's hard for women to get those nods.
Directors rarely get the nod, so we
love
hope
to
she
see that.
Gets that. Yes.
Even maybe Best Picture. I just feel like when you have a crowd pleaser that is crushing the box office, has strong auspices, and is topical, like at least, give it a nod. Why not?
Come on. Wasn't Top Gun Maverick nominated?
Yeah, if Top Gun Maverick was nominated, come on. Let's give Barbie a nod.
Come on. Right. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Okay, on to our what to watch segment. What are we looking forward to? What's next?
Whatever Greta Gerwig does next. We do not know what that is, but I'm sure every studio every actor is going to be wanting to work with her. It's going to be a hot project to nail down. But I'm just excited. It's cool to see how her career has evolved. She started out as an actress and did like smaller movies like Lady Bird. And now to see her doing a big budget comedy for a studio, that's awesome. So I hope to see more exciting things from her.
I agree. Everyone is talking about Greta Gerwig now. Everyone. So
I think people in like entertainment circles or film fans knew, but now I think she's becoming a household name, which is exciting.
Oh yeah, because I remember when Lady Bird came out, our family was very excited about that film. So that's when I first heard about her.
Yeah.
So happy for her. We need more women directors out there.
That's right.
And what do we think about a Barbie sequel?
Here's my thing with sequels. Not every movie needs a sequel.
That is true.
I also think we're in sequel fatigue. The amount of sequels, spin-offs, prequels that we've had, entertainment is almost too much. Or not almost too much, it's too much.
It's too much, yeah.
So I feel like they have to be careful with the sequel, especially given how well this one's doing. I think if there's more story to be told or a unique spin on it, like maybe you focus on Ken. Maybe it's all about Barbie in the real world. Maybe it's all about President Barbie. Give Issa a movie, you know? I think if there's a unique take or spin or truly more story to be told, do it. But this movie was really well done that it could be hard to make a sequel.
Right. It was a really good standalone.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, you know, we're in sequel fatigue, and
I'd be shocked if there wasn't
so much,
a sequel. Yeah.
Right? The movie made so much money. Of course they're gonna make a sequel.
I'm sure Warner Brothers is like already talking to Mattel.
Oh my gosh.
About doing it. For Mattel, it's great because they keep bringing Barbie in the conversation. And if they do have
like
Ken,
we're buying the shirts. And Shelby just bought a Barbie doll like last week.
I did.
So it's great for the Mattel brand. So I would be shocked if they don't do a sequel. Yeah. Does it need a sequel? No,
it doesn't need a sequel, but they probably will capitalize on the success.
For sure.
I would be shocked.
Right. And a lot of people were talking about the ending of the movie. It was interesting. Our brother was like, what do you think of the ending?
And by ending, you mean the scene when Margot Robbie's Barbie is at the office.
Yes.
And
in the real
checking
world.
in the real world. And she says, I'm at the gynecologist.
Yeah. And then fade to black. And then it's like funny. Barbie World by Ice Spice and Nicki Minaj.
So funny.
And you're like, what? That's how the movie ends? And he was like, what? Our brother was like, what's your theory? And I was, a little unsure what he meant by that. But he was thinking that, maybe Barbie wants to have a baby. And
that blew my mind. I was like, what?
I did not even think of that. But at first I was like, it's just a funny way to end the movie.
That's how I thought.
Yeah. But then I think later that night, because we were thinking about the movie and we were just what did we just watch?
We had to reflect on it a bit more.
Yeah, we were reflecting on the movie. And I was like, it ended like that because Barbie, she didn't have any genitalia. And now she finally has genitalia. So she's going to gynecologist because she's a real woman. And she's like getting her first, check up at the gynecologist. I think that's what it probably meant. And then my mom was like, yeah, I think Laura's right.
Yeah.
She's finally a woman
agreed. Now. I think that's probably the most likely scenario.
Right.
Similar to how you initially felt. I thought it was just like, this is funny way to end. You think she'll be going to a job interview or doing something really serious, but no, she's going to the gynecologist.
But she's just so excited.
And she's so excited to do that when most women hate going to gyno, So it was like,
she's funny. Like, finally.
And literally in the car, Gloria and her daughter like, good luck. Like the way they hang it up, you thought it was like a job interview or something. And the fact that it was the gyno, I was like, this is hilarious.
She's so excited. It's her first time. Yeah.
But I think it was probably done to be funny, but there's also more meaning to it.
Of course. So that's my theory of, the ending and why she was so excited to go, because she's a real woman now. Yes. Did you hear, Shelby, that there's going to be a Polly Pocket movie?
Polly Pocket?
Yes.
I did not.
I heard that I saw that on my feed.
Oh my gosh. Now they're like going to make every doll movie.
Yes, they're going to make every doll.
There's going to be a Bratz movie. LOL Surprise. It's going to be American Girl. Well, American Girl has had one, but now they're going to do more.
Oh, yeah. And there's going to be the Cabbage Patch.
I can't. I can't, Laura.
They're going to reboot. Build-A-Bear. They're going to reboot of G.I. Joe. Bring Channing back.
They're going to bring Chucky back. They're going to do everything.
And Hot Wheels movie. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's so funny.
Every single one. Polly Pocket? What?
The problem is, I don't think Polly Pocket's big enough. Maybe they don't care. And they're like, well, this
Any
works.
doll.
Yeah.
Literally.
And who's going to be Polly Pocket?
So, E-News apparently was like, there's going to be a Polly Pocket movie starring Lily Collins. I was like, interesting.
Isn't Polly Pocket blonde?
I guess.
I honestly
have no idea.
Maybe it doesn't matter.
They'll get her a wig. They'll get her a wig.
Interesting. Lily Collins.
I know. Interesting choice.
Yeah. I just think they're gonna have an uphill battle because Barbie was this big, and I think that already just seems like knockoff Barbie to me.
I know, Polly Pocket.
With
That
Lily
doesn't
Collins,
seem like
not
already
as big of a star as Margot Robbie, not as big of a star as Barbie. Yeah.
Yeah. I totally agree. I think a Bratz movie could be interesting.
Because that's a bit of a different demo and different energy, you know?
Exactly.
Polly Pocket's kind of like the same as Barbie. I'm cute, I'm pretty, I live in a house, I'm blonde, da da da. But I think Bratz is a little more sass to it.
Young, edgy.
Yes.
Exactly. More POC.
Yes.
I think that could be really interesting. Who would you cast in a Bratz movie?
Ooh. Well, you know who I really like right now? Coco Jones.
Yes, yes.
I feel like if you do a Bratz movie, you probably want young up-and-comers, you know? So I feel like she could be really good. You could also, I'm trying to think, you could also maybe get like a Lana Condor.
Oh,
yeah.
I like that choice. I like that choice. I like Lana Condor. That's good. I mean, everyone loves Zendaya, but I think she would have to be like a standalone. Like, imagine if Zendaya did a Barbie movie.
Crazy.
That would be insane.
Crazy. Yeah, I don't think Zendaya would be in like a ensemble.
Yeah, I agree.
She would take too much of the star power. I think with an ensemble, you need the same level of person, if that makes sense. Or like one person who's slightly higher, but not like going from Lana Condor to Zendaya is like too much. That's too much.
What about Yara Shahidi in a Bratz movie?
I
ding
think
ding ding, right? That'd be
winner.
Okay, we gotta.
Okay, we gotta write these ideas down.
I know.
We'll pitch it to y'all. Bratz movie. We're ready.
We're ready. Anything else you want to add about Barbie, Shelby?
I thought it was great. I think everyone should see it. I think this is huge for movies, huge for theaters, huge for the industry. Love it. Very happy.
Ding, ding, ding.
Pink is for the win, everybody.
Pink is back.
Pink was always here for me.
Yeah, Pink
everyone else is now realizing how great Pink is. I mean, you probably see my pink bed, my pink flowers, my pink candle, my
pink everything. Pink everything.
My pink phone case.
Yeah, Lizzo pink playing in the background. Yeah.
It's all pink.
Love it. Love it. Well, thank you everyone for listening. Yes, I hope you enjoyed our deep dive.
Our deep dive jumbo size edition of Barbie.
I mean, this has been, one of the most highly anticipated.
A lot of time.
We needed the moment to talk about it. Yes. So I hope you liked our takes. Please give us 5 stars, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. It means a lot to us. Follow us on Instagram and all our social medias at Sisters Who Watch.
That's right. We're also on YouTube. Like, subscribe, follow. We appreciate the support. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you. Pink, pink, pink. Bye, Barbie. Bye, Barbie. Bye, Barbie.
Bye, Barbie.
Bye, Barbie.
Bye, Barbie.
Bye, Barbie.